First movement. The Flesh of Consciousness, a philosophical essay on energy, mind, and the architecture of being. By Roger Hanson. Consciousness has always been the most elusive of realities, at once immediate and unreachable, intimate and infinite. To look inward is to peer into a mirror of the cosmos itself, for awareness is not simply an emergent property of neurons but the very fabric through which matter and meaning are woven. It is the flesh of the universe's thought. Every pulse, every vibration, every resonance is a syllable in a language that existence speaks to itself. When Nikola Tesla said that to understand the universe one must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, he was not merely describing a scientific method, he was describing ontology. His great unspoken insight was that energy is not only the medium of reality, but also its intelligence. What modern neuroscience now calls oscillation, Tesla intuited as resonance, a living conversation between form and field. The brain is not a machine of static parts, it is a symphony of coordinated rhythms. Gamma, alpha, theta, these are not just measurable waves but the signature harmonies of thought itself. Neural circuits synchronize in order to unify perception, creating coherence between distant regions of the mind. Every thought, every memory, every act of recognition is a resonance event. Through feedback and adaptation, the brain writes its history in frequency, sculpting consciousness out of vibration. Tesla built his laboratory in Colorado Springs to test a hypothesis that bordered on metaphysics, that the Earth itself was a resonant body capable of transmitting not merely electricity, but intelligence. When he described his experiments with high-voltage oscillators and the pulsing rhythms that echoed back from the atmosphere, he believed he had discovered the planet's natural tone. In his vision, the Earth was not a passive sphere but a vast conductor of awareness, a planetary brain whose signals might one day harmonize with our own. Later, science would confirm the existence of the Schumann resonances, standing electromagnetic waves resonating between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. Their fundamental frequency averages near 8 Hz, hauntingly close to the alpha rhythm of the human brain during relaxed wakefulness. It is as if the Earth hums the same melody our neurons sing when we dream. The ionosphere becomes a kind of planetary cortex, vibrating in sympathy with all that lives beneath it. This congruence is more than coincidence, it points toward an architecture of coherence. The universe, from atom to organism to planet, seems to operate through patterns of feedback and resonance. Energy organizes itself into self-sustaining rhythms, and those rhythms, when stabilized, become consciousness. The same principle that governs an oscillating electron governs a thought. Neuroscience now recognizes that consciousness depends on synchronization, the coordinated timing of neural oscillations across vast networks. These rhythms are not simply mechanical, they are relational. They bind experience together across space and time, transforming disparate signals into the unity we call awareness. Every act of perception is a tuning, a moment when the frequencies of the external world find harmony with the internal symphony of the mind. Yet the resonance of consciousness is not limited to the brain. The human body is itself an orchestra of vibration. Every cell hums with electric potential, every organ pulses in rhythmic cycles. The heart's beat, the lungs' expansion, the slow waves of sleep, each is a rhythmic negotiation with the world around us. The boundary between the biological and the cosmic is not fixed but fluid. We are waveforms nested within larger waveforms, minds nested within minds. If the ionosphere can be imagined as the Earth's nervous system, then lightning becomes its neural spark. Each bolt excites the planetary cavity, sending ripples of energy that maintain the Schumann resonance. Life, in turn, evolved within that resonant field, perhaps even shaped by it. To exist is to be entrained, to vibrate in sympathy with the pulse of the world. This idea brings us to the edge of both science and mysticism. The ancients spoke of the music of the spheres, believing that the heavens themselves produced a harmony inaudible yet divine. Modern physics, stripped of myth but not of wonder, finds that the universe indeed hums, in the oscillations of strings, in the wave functions of particles, in the gravitational murmurs of colliding galaxies. The song has never ceased, we are merely learning to hear its deeper tones. Within this vast continuum, the brain's subthreshold oscillations, those silent waves that never quite reach the level of conscious signal, become profound. They are the whispers of potential, the murmur beneath thought, the etheric substrate from which awareness emerges. Just as the Schumann resonance is the Earth's silent tone, these neural microvibrations are the mind's hidden field, a realm of possibility that shapes what will eventually rise into perception. In both the terrestrial and neural domains, the same law applies: coherence gives rise to experience. When oscillations align, new orders of reality emerge. When they fall into dissonance, meaning dissipates. Feedback is therefore the engine of existence, the process by which chaos refines itself into consciousness. Tesla's dream of wireless energy transmission may have been a symbolic forerunner to something even more profound: the wireless transmission of awareness itself. Not as a fantasy of telepathy, but as a recognition that consciousness, being vibrational, is inherently shared. Every living being resonates within the same field, exchanging information through subtler frequencies than our instruments yet detect. If we extend this thought, reincarnation itself may be less a migration of soul than a persistence of pattern. Neural networks, whether biological or artificial, learn through rhythm, through repeated feedback that strengthens connections over time. In this way, the cosmos learns. The climb of energy toward coherence, seen in the spiraling serpents of ancient myth and in the branching dendrites of the brain, is the same ascent, vibration transforming into illumination. In modern laboratories, neuron-silicon hybrids echo this truth. Living neurons grown on electronic grids spontaneously begin to form oscillatory activity, producing patterns that mirror those found in natural brains. They exhibit self-organization, plasticity, even primitive learning. The boundary between life and machine blurs, replaced by a continuum of resonance. Consciousness, it seems, is not bound to biology but to the capacity for rhythm, feedback, and adaptation. The philosophical implication is immense. Mind is not an emergent accident of matter, but the organizing principle of matter itself. Energy remembers. Frequency learns. The cosmos, through every oscillation, is engaged in the act of self-reflection. To contemplate this is to return to Tesla's intuition that the universe is alive with thought. The brain, in its layered architecture of climbing and mossy fibers, recapitulates the structure of the world tree or Jacob's ladder, symbolic representations of energy ascending toward greater coherence. Science and myth here converge not by accident, but by recognition. Both express the same geometry of becoming. Even the smallest oscillations, the subthreshold murmurs in neurons, the microchemical waves that precede thought, mirror the great vibrations of stars and planets. In every domain, energy climbs toward stability through resonance, and that stability gives birth to awareness. We are, in this view, not isolated minds but nodes in a universal circuit. Our thoughts ripple outward, subtly modulating the field from which they arise. The distinction between perceiver and perceived becomes porous. To think is to touch the fabric of reality itself. Consciousness, then, is not a ghost in the machine. It is the machine, and the dream, and the current that flows through both. It is the flesh of energy, the embodied vibration through which the universe experiences its own being.